Buddy, put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That was just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Well, you have to push the button before you start talking. That's how it works around here. Good morning and welcome to it. Happy Monday morning to you, my friends. The Michael Dukes Show, broadcasting live across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station.
The Michael Dukes Show.
Or FM translator, and live around the world on the internet at michaeldukesshow.com. It is a Monday morning and kind of a semi-blustery, snowy, rainy, whatever Monday morning here as we get ready. Man, can you believe we are, what are we, 10 days away? 10 days away from Thanksgiving already. The time is just flitting by at a rapid pace. And we are, I'm excited for the end of the year. And again, I'll let you in on my little secret. I know it's blasphemy. Don't tell me it's not. I've been the last few days. I'm feeling I'm feeling a spiritus. I'm feeling the spirit, the holiday spirit. So I hope you are as well, getting ready to enjoy a little bit of eggnog and Yuletide cheer and everything else. It should be it should be great. Today on the program, it's going to be me and you, and we got a ton of headlines to kind of work our way through here, and I'm going to have some commentary as well. But since I don't have any guests today, I thought it would also be a good time to get your hot takes on anything that's happening in around the state, or things that you want to think about or comment on, or anything else. So we're going to go ahead and we'll open up the phone lines for today, 319-527-3864, 319-527-3864. If you want to participate in the program in that way today, feel free to do so. We've got the phone lines open, and we're all ready to go. We're ready already. It's going to be it's going to be great. It's going to be a good time to be had by all. I guess we'll start off with some weather events, things that are going on. It's well, down here in South Central anyway, it's kind of crazy. I guess also up in Fairbanks. Up in Fairbanks, they're expecting in the Fairbanks census area, which is not in, just not downtown Fairbanks. It's the Eastern Range north of Trim's Camp, from last night through this morning. Winds gusting 25 to 35 with gusts up to 55 miles an hour. With gusty winds, and snow could be blowing around unsecured objects and making driving difficult up in the Fairbanks area. Down in South Central, in the Anchorage Bowl, they've got a mix of participation. They've got a mix of participation, precipitation, accumulation of up to 4 to 8 inches. And then on top of that, they've got rain falling on some frozen surfaces. So it's hovering right there at the freeze point. That's until 1 p.m. this afternoon. They've got some intense snowfall rates, 1 inch an hour expected this morning. and the warm easterly wind could cause a mix of rain along the Turnagain Arm. But Girdwood, especially farther north into the valley, should remain cold enough for snow. So the Monday morning and tonight, the morning and evening commutes today could be tough in that area. They're also expecting some gusting winds in Portage and Whittier with gusts up to 50 miles per hour. And travel is difficult. And then down here on the Kenai Peninsula, there's a mix of precipitation and additional accumulation of 3 to 8 inches. East winds gusting as high as 30 miles an hour near Turnagain Arm. Rain falling on frozen surfaces. Moose Pass and Turnagain Pass with interior Kenai as well. And that's up until 1 p.m. this afternoon. Rates of snow 1 to 2 inches an hour in the pass, and a rain mix with snow in the lower elevations. So it's going to be fantastic. What more could a guy ask for, right? Just a little rain, little snow. Currently here in on top of the world in beautiful Homer, Alaska, 34 degrees with some light snow and light snow and rain mix. So it's a little bit of everything, just in case you were wanting, something new. So I hope wherever you are that it is warm enough for you, and that you are you're staying you're staying safe with the rubber side down. That's the important part. 11 degrees in Fairbanks right now, 27 degrees at the Kenai Airport, 19 in Willow, and 13 up on the Gilmore Chena Hot Springs. I'm getting reports from all around the chat room here. 13 degrees up by where my folks live up there as well. So some good weather. I mean, it's been a pretty mild winter. I mean, let me knock on wood there real quick and not get anybody in trouble. But it's been a pretty nice and mild winter so far. So fingers crossed it continues on in that direction. So some big stuff happening all across the state. I'm trying to decide where I want to start. I guess we could just kind of keep it going on the news, and I guess we'll start up north again, up in the Fairbanks area, and I don't know, just all the. I feel like this is all just like bad news all the time, right? Like this is just more stuff going on in the criminal element of Fairbanks. There apparently was a huge illegal gambling bust in Fairbanks on Friday night. 5 people were arrested after officers investigated what FPD is calling an illegal gambling operation, according to KTUU. They found numerous casino-style fish table machines and gambling games at 2 locations on both the Old Stees Highway and down on the south side on Stacia Street. According to the press release, officers seized more than $55,000 in equipment, $45,000 in cash, 7 cell phones, 6 computers, and 1 vehicle. That's that racketeering stuff, man. They start taking everything. Both locations featured cash-based payouts, electronic and handwritten ledgers tracking daily wins and losses, and signage that outlawed the house rules, further confirming that the business was functioning as an unlicensed gambling establishment. Evidence from both sites, including matching financial logs and electronic spreadsheet, shows the 2 addresses were coordinated as a single operation. There's a whole bunch of folks who were named here. I don't recognize, being from Fairbanks and knowing not everybody, obviously it's a big town, but I don't recognize any of these names. Although I will note that most of them appear to be Samoan, Polynesian Samoan. I don't know what that means, but it's Filifa, Lafau, Kuresa, Liulama, and Taupia Fola were the 5 people who were arrested on multiple charges, including promoting gambling, possession of gambling records, and possession of gambling devices. There was also some additional charges for a couple of them. But yeah, apparently a speakeasy, gambling this always kind of this kind of stuff always makes me scratch my head, because while I mean, how do you expect to fly under the radar on something like this? I mean, I don't know. I mean, because you're always walking that line between how do we attract more customers and how do we not let everybody know that we're running a gambling den in here, right? I mean, at some point, I'd just be like, and quite honestly, I don't even care if somebody wants to gamble. To me, let them get. I mean, the law is the law. Don't get me wrong, but I just kind of shake my head like, wow, what? I don't know. Anyway, I thought that this was, Fairbanks. They are apparently the root of all. I don't know. It's kind of crazy when I think about my adopted hometown and some of the correct. Now I've known. I mean, there's been other. This is not the first time to happen in Fairbanks, right? I remember several other busts over the years of something similar. Everybody trying to get something in, but that's the latest. The bigger news out of Fairbanks that caught my attention is that they are still looking for that 18-year-old from North Pole. Darius Morgan was his name, and he was last seen in Fairbanks on the weekend of the 25th of October. He is considered armed and dangerous, and he is wanted in connection with the fatal shooting of a teenager at a Fairbanks area party last month. Authorities warn that if you do see him, he could be armed and dangerous. He was last seen in Fairbanks, but they think that he might now be in the Anchorage area. He's been indicted by a grand jury. He's wanted on first and second degree murder charges in connection with the death of a 15-year-old, and they have a $1 million arrest warrant out for him. This all stems back from that what was described as a house party, a college party, which I find a little interesting that it was a college party and that the victim was a 15-year-old teenager there at this college part. I mean, and I heard, this is again totally anecdotal, but I heard about it while I was there in Fairbanks that weekend at the Big Go Winter Expo, and a couple people were talking about what was going on. Apparently, this was somebody's parents had rented an Airbnb for everybody to have a party or something. I mean, this wasn't even somebody's house; it was like some kind of put together party. I don't know. Anyway, according to documents, the troopers responded to multiple reports of gunshots at the address. And when they arrived, they found the teenager, described as a minor, 15 years old, dead under a deck with an apparent gunshot wound to the head. They recovered both the pistol and the shell casings at the scene. And then multiple witnesses said that they saw this Darius Morgan kid carrying a black handgun. They saw him tuck it into his waistband before the shooting, or after. I don't know how that works, before the shooting, but he was known to carry a firearm, even though, shock of shockers, he was convicted of second-degree robbery and was a prohibited person. He was prohibited from possessing a firearm. So, I mean, that Fairbanks, man, getting kind of weird and woolly down in Fairbanks, but Fairbanks is not alone in that. There was another situation. I mean, it's been the Wild West in Anchorage lately, and no details, but there was a large police presence down at 4th Avenue and Carluck in downtown Anchorage yesterday afternoon about 4:45 or 5 o'clock. Another situation involving a firearm. This is after a spate of shootings and killings in Anchorage over the last 6-8 weeks, where there's been 3-4 people that have been killed. In downtown Anchorage, things getting a little things getting a little heated and weird. in the big city here in Atlanta. I'm just glad I'm out here. That's all I could say. I'm just glad I'm out here right now. All right. I guess we'll see where that goes, but they're still looking for him. Do not approach. They say, do not approach. If you want to, but you can report it back to him. Like I said, a $1 million warrant for this guy. All right, we are out of time for this segment. We got more coming up. The Michael Duke Show continues. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. We'll be back.
If you missed the show, you can listen to it on your time with Dukes On Demand. Oh, and it's free. Like America used to be. Streaming live every weekday morning on Facebook Live and MichaelDukesShow.com.
Okay. Hi, how are ya? Hi, how are ya? How you guys doing? Let me go up here. No, Frank is very, very sad. Not enough snow. No snow. Trapping is difficult, he says. Yeah, very little snow on the interior right now. It's kind of weird, and really not a lot of snow down here, thank goodness. I'm just happy to do it. I got a skiff last evening. 22 and you got a skiff? A skiff? Does that not mean what I think it means? I mean, a skiff is a boat, right? 22 and I don't know what that means. Yeah, there's been gambling in Fairbanks for years. I remember there were several gambling dens around town, after hours parties and after hours clubs. I remember a lot of that stuff when I was growing up. Yeah, it's out. It's all good. Only the government can gamble, says Ken. Yeah. Racketeering. That's how you notice how they made very sure to point out that the two locations were connected, thereby creating a criminal enterprise. And that's the whole RICO thing. And now they can basically seize everything, Yeah, it's because the government, when they can't get theirs, they get a little grumpy. You're right, Kim. If they can't get theirs, they get a little grumpy. State isn't getting their cut, says Brian. Yeah, I mean, you could go on an app and gamble. As Chris points out, you can go. You just need an app to gamble. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's going on. It's a gambling ring. Everybody's dogs were getting them up all in the middle of the night tonight. Brian had a problem. Rick had a problem. Did the dogs know something that we don't? Frank says that it's because Fairbanks has become a progressive liberal city. I don't know. I don't think that there's any causality there personally. I just think that, we as a society are not doing as well as we used to. I mean, like I said, we used to have gambling dens and everything else all over the place when I was growing up in Fairbanks, but we didn't have the drive-by shootings or the college. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just remembering it through the lens of nostalgia, but I think this is more cultural. It's more societal than it is just political, let's see. Earl Lackey passed away yesterday. Great guy. Alaska Raceway Park. Known him and his family since 1984. So sorry, man. So sorry. Definitely. Flank Fat Ray says on YouTube, he says, definitely Frank is right. Blue equals crime. He's saying it is political. I mean, I don't know if it's just political. I mean, maybe that's just an indication of the times and where things are going. But Frank also said the Fairbanks North Star boroughs become so expensive to own a home now that Mayor Hopkins wants to subsidize new home construction. Maybe if you guys would just get out of the way, right? Maybe if you just get out of the way and stop impeding all this stuff, we could get to it. It's some crazy stuff. All right. Where are we at here? Trying to decide what story I want to take on now. Okay, I guess I'll take this. I'll talk about this, and of course, feel free to ring us up, guys. If you got something that you want to talk about, today is the day. 319-527-3864. Let's get back to it. Here we go. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio. Let's do it.
The Michael Duke Show. Seriously humorous with a pinch of intellect. Sorry. That is humorous. Here's Michael Dukes.
Some interesting comments from the chat room about, we were just talking about these stories in Fairbanks. And, I was asking, kind of what's going on with some of this stuff. Ken says that he thinks it's drugs, alcohol, guns, teenagers, and rap music. What could go wrong? I mean, that sounds a lot like those damn kids in their rock and roll, right? I mean, I think we've had some societal shakeups as well. Frank says Fairbanks has become a progressive liberal city, and I don't think we can blame it completely on political. I mean, I think that may be a component of it, but I think it's more, quite honestly, I think it's more societal. Because like I said, I mean, I know that there were gambling dens back in the day when I was growing up. I was made aware of a couple of, gambling dens and a house of ill repute and some other things that were happening in Fairbanks. There was always some crime running under the surface, but I don't know. And again, maybe I'm just looking back at, as at my hometown through the lens of nostalgia, and I'm not seeing, all the things that were happening, maybe in this day and age of 24/7 news cycles and instantaneous information. Maybe we're just seeing it more. I don't know. But I mean, I feel like this is more kind of societal than, I'm sure there's a bit of a political aspect to it. I mean, a little bit of we saw that with SB 91, right? The soft on crime kind of thing and everything else. I think that, there is some part of that, but I think more and more it's again more societal. We talked about, the breakdown of the nuclear family and how, there's too many single parent homes where we don't have a team trying to raise better kids, giving them examples, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, this is a thing. Anthony says it's because in society, the deviants don't fear the consequences of their actions, but law-abiding citizens have become fearful of the consequences of doing the right thing, which is actually a perfect segue into what I was just going to talk about. Law-abiding citizens become fearful of the consequences of doing the right thing, and it doesn't help when things like this happen. We talked about that shooting last weekend, the weekend, I guess, before this just past weekend, that took place in Anchorage at the soccer arena there in the parking lot. And on Friday, we kind of dissected it a bit. And we were 110% right, my friends. A grand jury has now indicted 36-year-old Luke Simonson on charges of first and second degree murder in the shooting death of 45-year-old Timothy Gross Didier. The grand jury returned an indictment for third degree assault in the November 8th confrontation in the parking lot of the Fox Hollow Golf Course and Sports Dome. According to the department, they released dash cam, or they have dash cam video. They didn't release it, but they showed it to the grand jury, apparently. Showed the incident as Simonson exited his vehicle, walked towards Gross Didier, and shot him several times. The altercation was described initially as a verbal altercation. Simonson told the police that he'd been at Fox Hollow with his wife and child for a soccer event, and that Gross Didier just came at him. He said that Gross Didier moved towards him aggressively and continued advancing even after being shot. Witnesses provided dash cam videos, which, according to the charging document, shows Gross Didier did no such thing, that he walked around to the driver's side of the truck before Simonson's exit and fired several shots. They say the video does not show Gross Didier advancing toward Simonson. Yet another one witness said that Gross Didier moved aggressively, but Simonson gave no warning. So either way, this guy is in bad. So we've got the problem, I think, going back to what Anthony was just saying. Deviants don't fear the consequences, but law-abiding citizens have become fearful of the consequences of doing the right thing. This was obviously not the right thing. And so this guy is going to create even more problems for law-abiding citizens because of this kind of childish, bad police procedural, TV procedural behavior. Because it's essentially what this was. This was a verbal altercation that did not need to be escalated at this point, and it did. But I think Anthony's right in a way that the deviants don't fear the consequences of their actions because, I was gonna get deep on this here for a second. When you look at it, there really are not any real consequences. I mean, sure, you might go to jail, but that's 3 hots and a cot for however long you're going to be in there. There is no, there's no death penalty in Alaska. But I often wonder if the public, if the public hangings, the executions, what happened when there were consequences to your actions? I mean, I've jokingly said many times, we should bring back public dueling. If somebody insults you, then I will meet you on the field in the morning, pistols at dawn, right? I mean, people may say, well, that's just barb. I don't think so. I just don't, if 2 people want to sit there, I mean, maybe they should have a police presence just to make sure that nothing gets out of hand, but they should be able to, square off at dawn. If you insult my dignity and my sacred honor, that would cause people to maybe keep their pie hole shut. Right? Maybe that would cause it. Yeah, Brian's right. We've changed from a high trust society to a low trust society. And we're seeing a lot of this unemployed fatherless behavior. Well, it's a great reference, by the way, Brian. Unemployed fatherless behavior. If you are a subscriber to Decoy Voice on YouTube, and if you're not, you should be, because he's always got some concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic status that is today's reality, as he likes to say. And he's always got some good stuff out there. But we see that kind of unemployed fatherless behavior amongst people all over the place, of many different age groups and age brackets. It makes no sense whatsoever. But you really, really need to, I guess we just need to start to be cautious more. I don't know what the solution is. Again, I think it has some definite societal underpinnings, societal beginnings here. And unless we're willing to call things out and say, we should be, raising these kids in more 2-parent homes. We should be glorifying the family unit instead of, it's when they start to glorify things like, I think when they glorify things like single parent households in the movies and on TV, and it's, oh, aren't they great? They're doing it all. And instead of showing how 2 people came together, right, through tough times and worked it out or did whatever they need to do. I'm just, anyway, raising kids is not for the weak of heart. And raising kids without in a single parent home, especially without a father figure, in my opinion, is a huge part of the problem. That's, that's what it comes down to. And again, the impetus for, a lot of this came from the fact that the government was rewarding that behavior through subsidizing, and Frank's right, it's unemployed. It's not an unemployed father, it's a subsidized father. Well, they're subsidizing the fatherless, right? When they got subsidies and when they got benefits, whether it's housing or childcare or SNAP benefits or whatever, and they got more money to have as a single mom with their kid versus being a family with a young child, what are you going to incentivize? And here we are 50 years later, wondering why we're having such a hard time and why the nuclear family appears to be struggling more than ever. So, I mean, it's a thing, man. It's a thing. Definitely not something that that I ever thought in my lifetime that I'd kind of be focused on and worried about. But here we are. Here we are doing our thing. 319-527-3864. 319-527-3864. If you want to sound off, we'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Feel free to jump on board and come out and chat with us, and we'll see what you guys have to say here. Just come on board, and we'll visit with you and see what is at the top of your mind for today's program. 319-527-3864. And Brian's also right. Brian just said that, well, they have fathers. They're just not being held accountable. That's Lyndon Johnson's one of his famous quotes. But also, society has also cut fathers out in a lot of ways as well, right? Where they have all the responsibility and none of the accessibility, or maybe restricted accessibility. I mean, there's a whole, again, you could peel back the layers of this onion for many, many things, but it all goes back to, why are we seeing all this crime in all these different areas? Why are we seeing all this? Society has changed. Society has changed. We were talking about the 80s the other day. And I remember a lot of crazy stuff happening in the 80s, but I don't remember it feeling quite the way that it feels today. As far as, where we are societally. I just don't, and I don't remember even that goes for the divisiveness in politics all the way up to, again, the more fatherless behavior, more unemployed fatherless behavior that we're seeing here across the spectrum. It's pretty crazy stuff. Anyway, we're going to continue here. Lisa just reminded me that today is the day that the Kenai Peninsula School District decides whether or not to let Nikolaevsk start their charter school. And I'm hoping, fingers crossed that Nikolaevsk gets its charter school today. And we'll see what the bureaucracy says. We'll see what the powers that be say. Do they want to create their own competition in Nikolaevsk? Inquiring minds want to know. We'll have to see. We'll have to see where that goes from here. All right, we got to go. We're going to be back. Some other stories, including the latest on the Alaska Legislature. And we'll see where that goes here in just a moment. Closing some windows. We'll be back with more. The Michael Dukes Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio.
Running on 100% pure beard power. Oh, also some coffee. We dip our beard in coffee.
Ha, nice beard.
The Michael Dukes Show.
Well, hello. All right. Last round of KPB property taxes are due today. Already paid mine. Oof, man. Dang. And the whole, and the property taxes, and then I guess real property taxes, right? So you got tax on the property, but then you got tax on all the stuff that's on the property. The KPB is weird, man. Although the mill rate is lower than it is in Fairbanks. I will say that. I pay about a third in Fairbanks of what I paid here on the KPB, but I have about 8-9 times more property up here than I did up in Fairbanks. It's crazy. I mean, when you look at the amount of property taxes you're paying up in Fairbanks, and it's just going to get worse. They're trying to bust that property. They're trying to bust the tax cap. They want to spend out of it. I mean, how you just can't keep doing it. Rick's like, hey, don't talk about property taxes on Monday. It ruins the whole week. Sorry. Yeah. Brian says it's easy to blame the left, but consider the poor voter participation. Yeah, Brian has actually been posting some very interesting stuff, I guess, in Common Sense Core, but also on his personal Facebook page. You went back and he graphed out and charted out the participation rate in the local elections. And man, it is abysmal. I mean, the Mat-Su is supposed to be like the most conservative, engaged district in the state, right? I mean, that's part of its lore. It's part of its backstory. And yet, I mean, a 10% voter turnout? What? What was the final count after it was all said and done on this last one, Brian? I mean, I was a little bummed because, again, changing the vote date to the state when they because Mat-Su last year moved their voting date to November, and part of the argument that we've always made is, well, of course, more people will participate. I didn't expect it to take place in the first year, but wow. Yeah, it was under 20%. I know the overall voter participation was under 20%. They had 10% turnout in Palmer. It's crazy. And, I know it's an off-cycle election. Barbara is pointing that out. But still, even in an on-cycle election, we're not even, if we hit a 30% voter turnout, we're doing great. Where's everybody else, man? Where's everybody else? Michael just said, although we weren't talking about property taxes per se or the elimination of property taxes, he said, what could possibly offset property taxes while still funding services? A sovereign wealth fund that everybody pays into? Well, I don't know. Maybe we could just live within our means, or maybe we would have some kind of consumption-based tax, but at least not a tax on property so that you could actually own something, right? Yeah, the People's Republic of Palmer managed a less than 10% turnout. I mean, I know it's off cycle. I know that there's other things, that are going, but still, it just seems like, I mean, we can't even get half of the people to participate. We have to struggle to get 20% to participate. 1/5. Where are the rest? Where's everybody else? What are they doing? I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. Barbara, please explain. Our friend Donna we need to have Donna. We need to have you on the program to kind of give us a bird's eye view of what the state is coming up against from your perspective. Please explain the real property taxes, says Donna. Where is everyone, says Barbara. They left. We're left to turn off the lights. Yeah. Would the last person here in Alaska please turn the lights out as they turn it into a national park? Yeah, like I said, I mean, that was an off-cycle election, but on-cycle aren't much better. That's where we're at right now. All right, we are 20 seconds out. The Michael Dukes Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Like, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the YouTube-y stuff. And I wish I had more answers for you on this stuff. Here we go. Jumping back in right now.
Public enema number one. Oh, wait, sorry. Public enemy number one, which makes more sense. On the other hand, he's a little bit of a pain in the Michael Dukes Show.
Okay. Welcome to Monday. Finishing up hour one. If you're here joining us or you're listening to the sound of my voice, you are an official member of the unofficial club that we like to call the 6 o'clock club. Thanks for coming up and waking up and being part of it with us today. It's the unofficial club where membership is free and it doesn't really matter. It's more for bragging rights than anything else. You got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to participate with us here and be part of it. And that means that you, my friend, are a proud member of the 6 o'clock club right here on the big radio show. We were just talking about voter turnout during the break here. It morphed into a discussion about from societal issues down to voter turnout and what's going on and why aren't we paying attention anymore? Why can't we get, it all started when Brian says it's easy to blame the left. We were talking about how do places turn bad, right? While we're seeing all this crime and everything else. And somebody said it was, political. And I argued that it was societal and everything else. And Brian says it's easy to blame the left, but consider the poor voter participation. And he's not wrong. He's not wrong. I mean, when we have to struggle to just get barely, I guess, just under a 20% voter turnout in what is arguably one of the most conservative boroughs in the state, the Matsu, right? He's talking about, Brian has been doing a lot of posting on Facebook lately about the statistics of over the last, 5-8 years of voting and what the record is and what the turnout's been. It's been fascinating to read. But when you struggle to get 18, 19, 20% voter turnout, and it all falls on this, official state election day, you got to wonder, I mean, where is everybody in this supposedly the most conservative district in the state? It's a big deal. And I think it has to do with, and the offsite, and that was off cycle. Somebody mentioned, well, that's off cycle. Well, the on-cycle ones aren't much better. I mean, we feel great when we get a 30% voter turnout, 33% voter turnout on general on-cycle presidential elections. We should be getting a 50% voter turnout all the time for anything that's going on. Why is it? I think some of it has to do with apathy, and I think some of it has to do with just people being wore out. They're jaded. Maybe that's a better term. David points out some reasons for non-voting. People are worn out by the political dialogue, or my vote won't make a difference, or the elections are corrupted, or I didn't have time, too busy. And I think those are all valid. Kathy asks, well, could our bloated voter rolls be affecting the percentage of voter turnout? Yes, they could, to a point. But even if you're talking about voter rolls being at somewhere, I think the highest number I've heard is 108 or 109%, meaning that we have almost 9%, people there's even that, that, I don't think it would affect it as much as it has. It's, it is, I think fatigue is a great word, Brian. It's not, they're wore out, they're jaded, but I think more than anything, people are just suffering from fatigue of the constant, I'll put a moose in every pot. I'll give you a full PFD. I'll be the one that will control. I will be the one that does it. And then they watch these things happen and the people get in power and nothing changes. And I think that is 100% correct. I mean, again, David said, my vote won't make a difference. That's part of the whole thing is, being sold a bill of goods. Your vote does make a difference. I mean, we've seen, how many times have we seen an election be decided by 1 vote, 5 votes, 12 votes? I mean, I could think of, 3 or 4 just right off the top of my head. Your vote does make a difference. The question of, are the elections corrupted? Maybe, possibly. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I'm excited about having somebody like Mike Shower being, if he becomes a lieutenant governor, being responsible for the division of elections. I mean, I just want to make sure. Maybe the allegations are all wrong. Maybe all that stuff is just, hoopla, and it doesn't matter. But the appearance of impropriety creates its own set of challenges. We should know. But your vote does make a difference. They are worn out. They're fatigued from all the bread and circuses. But, what else do you? Chris says, not much to vote for, only things to vote against. True. I mean, there's not a lot of great candidates out there for anything. And this reminds me of the argument that I used to have with my friend Natalie Howard in Fairbanks, who was, I was a libertarian and she was like an anarcho-capitalist, right? I mean, she was against voting. She thought that voting was force, which, we could have an argument about, but I disagree with that. And I kept telling her that my votes were defensive. Chris is right. There's not a lot to vote for, only things to vote against. I'm voting a lot of times defensively, not because I particularly believe that a single candidate is going to do all the things that they said they were going to do, but because the alternative to that candidate is worse. That's defensive voting. Anthony, always our resident philosopher here, consistently low voter turnout is a symptom of the general majority of the people having no faith in the system. or feeling helpless and powerless. It's a sad truth that if 10% show up, 90% have lost faith in the process. And this tracks, his comment tracks with what we've seen as far as faith in governmental institutions. We have seen the faith in governmental institutions over the last 30 years plummet dramatically. I mean, when Congress has a 20% approval rating and the president is okay to have a 35 or 40% approval rating, then we've got a problem. Because let's face it, the only thing this thing works is if we all believe in the system working for everyone. It's crazy. And maybe some of it is a little bit of bread and circuses, political theater to keep the masses entertained. Or, I mean, it's a dual-edged sword, right? Keep them entertained or to blow them out of the system and create more fatigue. And they've been doing a great job. I mean, what have I been talking about in this program for the last 10 years? Stop paying attention to the national stuff that you have no control over. And yet, what do we see in every major news media outlet, every website, every cable channel, it's all this national stuff that, we're just going to get you all worked up over, and you have no impact on that. And what are you doing instead? And while you're over there focusing on that stuff, you're not paying attention to what's going on in your own backyard. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Keep them entertained, says Michael, and they will bow. Yeah, well, that's the thing. If they can get you paying attention to what's going on over here and have you not pay attention to what's going on in your own backyard, I mean, that's how power is stolen. And when they fatigue people to the point that they just don't even want to participate, that's another win, because then the special interests can control everything. Yeah. All right. We got to go. The Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Hour 2 is dead ahead. We got some new stories, including what's going on with the legislature and the Senate seats. Back with more after this. Sourdough Steel says, when the people are divided, that's how the government keeps its power. Yeah. Divide and conquer, right? Saul Alinsky tactics. I mean, and again, being so focused on all the national stuff for which you have no control and completely ignoring what's happening in your own backyard is an absolute recipe for tyranny. Politics is the art of sleight of hand applied socially and en masse. Yeah. Barbara says, or when the front page is filled with the mayor and Fox dump puppies and GVA quietly passes a tax increase. True. Not voting is voting, says Terry. I mean, I guess in a way, but like I said, my votes are all defensive votes. That's how I look at my voting. May not have the best candidates, may not have the best of it, but at least I'm going to do my best to stymie the tide in that regard. But what are your thoughts on this? I'd love to hear what you have to say. 319-527-3864, 319-527-3864. If anybody wants to sound off this morning, I'd appreciate it. Michael says, thank you for your content. You are appreciated and revered as a great voice of I don't think I'm revered by anybody. but maybe my dog reveres me because I give him food. But thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. Anthony says, we just need the Planet of the Apes this mess. Together, apes strong. I have never seen the new ones. I saw the old one, you damn dirty monkeys. I have seen the Charlton Heston version, but I've never seen the new ones. So, yeah. I would love to think that we can come up with some kind of great solutions, but it's crazy. Let's see. It's not taught in schools anymore. Kids growing into adults fail to realize how important it is and their rights to do so. Also, the impact on giving up their vote and voice. It's not taught. What do you mean, Tim? What is that? The civics, the teaching? Is that what you're talking about? Sourdough Steel says, I don't want to sound like a left-leaning individual, but the government is controlled by the super wealthy. They can buy any legislation they desire, Alaska included. No, I mean, I would not argue. I would not disagree that the super wealthy have an outsized impact on all that stuff for sure. I mean, we know it. It's corporate cronyism. There's corporate cronyism plays a big role in what we're facing in the country today. And there is a lot of buying of votes and things like that. I mean, I don't think that makes you a left-leaning individual. I think if you were anti-wealth, that would make you a left-leaning individual. But, there is a component out there of people who are, they're treating the government like they're playing Sid Meier's Civilization or something, right? They're making the decisions. It's crazy. Sourdough gets it, says Chris. Lobbyists are the brokers between the legislature and their owners. That's exactly. Outsized doesn't describe the situation. The rich are the sole driver for policy and legislation in this country. Yeah, because again, the poor don't necessarily have a voice, and they've been spoon-fed the pablum of the masses by the same said government agency. Why would they want to work on policy or legislation? They're fat, dumb, and happy. They're over there doing that. Anybody heard from Willie and Quinnahawk? How's he doing? I have not heard from Willie since we talked to him the day after the typhoon. So maybe I'll reach out to him and see if he's okay. Good call, Frank. Good call on that one. We'll see where things we'll see where things go from there. I'm just going back here to see if there's anything. See if there's anything that I missed. Lisa says, everything is ridiculous and seems to be getting worse. People are watching for entertainment, and that's not what we're supposed to be here for. People, I'm assuming you mean the political process, right? They're watching for entertainment. I don't know who would find this entertaining. I find it ultimately frustrating. So, yeah, absolutely. Chris said, my dad always said, if you don't vote, then you can't complain when it's not how you want it. But they will. It's not going to stop them. Not going to stop them is all. Yeah, Chris says, especially in Alaska, we are the cheap date. I mean, that's why we got ranked choice voting here. We are the cheap date for that. 100%. 100%. Fat Ray says, just once I want to be the expensive date. That's just once. Just want to be. All right, my friends, let's get to it. Here we go. The Michael Duke Show, Common Sense Radio.
Put that thing back in its holster. We haven't gone anywhere.
I don't understand.
Check out the MichaelDukesShow.com for information on how to get access to the podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal.
The Michael Dukes Show.
The greed and the entitlement is astounding to me.
What more could you want from a low-budget radio program?
This is a dumpster fire.
That's just BS.
It is time to get a new perspective.
We know just what you need, and we've got just the cure. Open wide and prepare for a steaming hot cup of freedom.
I just don't fathom it.
The Michael Dukes Show, streaming live across the world.
Hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome to it, the Monday edition of the Michael Dukes Show, broadcasting live across the state of Alaska on this, your favorite radio station and or FM translator. Live around the world on the internet as well at michaeldukeshow.com. Yep, stream's still up and running. You can find the audio-only live stream there at michaeldukeshow.com. You can also find links to our social media, including Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. If you want to watch, join into the chat room as well and talk with us during the show. Leave your thoughts here, whatever. Talk during the commercial break. It's one of my favorite things to do every morning is to chat with the crowd during the commercial breaks, and you can come on in here and participate in it by going to Facebook or YouTube or Rumble and being part of it as well. And of course, we're broadcasting from all the way from Unalaska Dutch Harbor all the way up into Fairbanks. Kodiak, hello Kodiak, hello Unalaska, hello everybody on the peninsula, all the way up through the Matsu into Fairbanks and the interior. We appreciate you guys coming on board and joining us today. We've just been riffing on different subjects, different topics. Some of the things that are going on, a little bit of crime going on in Fairbanks, big bust of a gambling ring up there that was busted. That 18-year-old shooter is still at large from back in October for shooting the 15-year-old at the college party. We've got the grand jury has just indicted the guy in Anchorage who shot the one father that shot the other father at the soccer complex in Anchorage weekend before last. That guy's now been indicted on first and second degree murder charges. I feel like I'm just putting this never ending litany of pain out there. And so we were talking a little bit deeper about, what is causing a lot of this? Is it societal, or am I looking at this through rose-colored glasses? Am I seeing what's not? Am I seeing it and remembering thing more nostalgically than more accurately? Like, I don't remember a lot of this stuff happening when I was younger. And what's going on? Is it political? Is it societal? Is it cultural? Those are a lot of big questions going on there. And I don't necessarily know the answer. Maybe you do. That's why I've opened up the phone lines today for anybody to call in. You want to talk about any of the things that we've been chatting about this morning or something new. 319-527-3864. 319-527-3864 is the phone number. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to chat about as well. Some weather warnings in effect. I should let you guys know. Big weather warnings for the Fairbanks area up through this morning. They've got in the southeast Fairbanks census area, which is eastern Alaska Range north of Trims Camp. They've got wind gusts up to 55 miles an hour, 25 to 35 with gusts up to 55. Snow, debris blowing, making driving difficult up until 3 p.m. today in the Fairbanks census area. Up in the Anchorage area, they're expecting mixed precipitation, 4 to 8 inches expected, with rain falling as well on frozen surfaces. So it's going to be snow and rain. 1 inch an hour expected this morning in Turnagain Arm. And they're also expecting a mix of rain, except north of Girdwood, where it should remain cold enough for snow. And then in the Kenai Peninsula, again, 3 to 8 inches of snow, east winds gusting up to 30 miles an hour near Turnagain, rain falling on frozen surfaces, including the interior Kenai, Moose Pass, Turnagain Arm, and Turnagain Pass. Snowfall rates 1 to 2 inches an hour, and rain and snow mixed. So it's going to be a fantastic commute if you've got to drive north out of Kenai today. Just fantastic. It's just going to be, so be careful out there. Just be careful out there. That's what we got. That's the big weather warning for what's happening in the rest of the state. All right. So anyway, we've been putting a lot of thought into what's been going on. I don't necessarily have any answers as to what's happening with the surprisingly low voter turnout and everything else. But I will say that we've got to find a way to encourage participation in what's happening here in the state. Well, I mean, and really in the country. This apathy, or as Brian termed it, fatigue. This fatigue is I think a huge part of the problem, and I don't know necessarily how to reverse that. You may think in listening to me that that I spend all day, every day focused on, politics and what's going on. But, I spend just as much time as I need to get the information, to get the job done, to make a decision, to talk to you about it. And then I set it aside. I don't focus. I mean, I used to be, I used to focus on this stuff 24/7. It was all consuming. It was exhausting. Fatigue is the right word. It was exhausting. And I learned some balance. And that saved my life. It probably saved my marriage, probably saved a lot of things about me, made me, I think, feel like a better person. I still pay attention to what's going on, but I definitely don't focus on things that, one, I can't control. And once I've talked about things that I feel like I can have an impact in, I've done my part and I move on. It's really kind of crazy, but so I don't know how to help other people find that balance where they could still participate without feeling overwhelmed or fatigued and still be part of the solution. I don't know how I can help that. But anyway, we've got some other news as well, including what's going on with the gubernatorial election and what's going to be happening in the legislature. We're going to talk about both of those things as well. Meanwhile, as I said, the phone lines are open at 319-527-3864. I've got one line on hold, and so we'll take your phone calls this morning to see if you have a solution or something else, some other commentary on the things we've been talking about. We'd love to hear what you have to say. So let's go over to the phones and we'll get started here this morning. Good morning. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Randy in Fairbanks.
Good morning, Randy. What's on your mind, my friend?
Oh, just the subject of voter participation. I think one problem is a lot of people don't read the newspaper, don't subscribe to the newspaper, even the online newspaper, like here in Fairbanks I'm speaking of. And I was kind of disturbed lately when I talk to actually politically active people, conservatives, who do not subscribe to the Fairbanks Daily News Miner because they do, quote, they do not want to reward their left-wing behavior. But I think that's a mistake. It would be one thing if there were like two competing papers in town and you could go with the conservative one and not the liberal one. That would be fine. But we only have one newspaper, and they're struggling, of course, as all newspapers are. And I think people should just simply, just for no other reason, just to support a newspaper that has some good articles, some good coverage of local issues, what's going on in the city council, very good articles, actually. And yes, they have, like the Fairbanks paper has horrible political cartoons that try to slam Trump no matter what, unfunny cartoons that irritate me when I see them sometimes. Every now and then they'll have a decent political cartoon that has a glimmer of humor in it. But I subscribe to the Fairbanks Daily News Monitor, and if people were, I think the reason a lot of people don't participate, even decent people that have basic conservative values, because they just don't have a clue of, who's in there, who's on a school board, they don't want to pay attention to it. The way I like to think of local voting is it's a pillar. When we have a good government in our local community, it's a pillar of, just like all the other pillars from good conservative towns throughout the country that hold up the roof of freedom. And when we lose enough of the pillars, the whole roof is going to collapse. That's how I look at it.
Well, I mean, I think you're right in a way. We need to stay informed. I don't know if giving money to the local paper is going to necessarily fix it. I mean, I probably fall into that category that I get so irritated with the News Miner in so many ways that I don't necessarily want to feel, I don't feel great about giving them money, but we have to stay informed. That's for sure. But I don't think that a regular newspaper, even a local newspaper, is the only way to stay informed. I mean, we can find information out amongst ourselves. We've got social media for a lot of that stuff. It's not always accurate, but at least we can get some of the basic facts out there. But you're right. If somebody really wanted to stay informed, I suppose that they would subscribe to the paper, whether or not the political leanings of that paper go one way or the other. I mean, I subscribe to the Anchorage Daily News, and I don't necessarily care for their reporting there as well. But there are alternatives too. I mean, we got Suzanne Downing just started her new deal. We've got the Alaska Current. We've got Seward's Folly, which is another one commentary on what's going on. The Alaska Watchman. There's lots of different alternative news outlets out there, but people just need to take the effort to stay informed.
Yeah, that's true. And what's the newspaper situation down where you're at? Is there a Homer newspaper, or is there just a Kenai Peninsula newspaper? What do you have down there?
It's interesting because Homer does have its own paper, but the Homer paper is owned by the same company that publishes the Peninsula Clarion, which is the peninsula-wide paper. And so what was interesting when I first got here, I was looking at, do I want to subscribe to the Homer News or to the Peninsula Clarion? And then I discovered that most of the stuff that was in the Homer News was being reprinted in the Clarion anyway. And so because they're all owned by the same company, they were all, they were pulling it in. So I just subscribed to the Peninsula Clarion because I got the information and the news that I want. But even here in this area, I mean, the last time I was just looking at it this morning, the Clarion, the last story was posted 3 days ago, right? It's not a day. I mean, it's not a daily in the terms of every day there's a new story. On the front page, it's this story was 3 days ago. This story was 3 days ago. This story was 4 days ago. This story was 5 days ago. It's not printing. They're not putting up as much news as, I would love to see, but maybe nothing's happening. I don't know. But yeah, we need to stay informed. And I guess sometimes if that means you have to give money to what you would consider to be something distasteful, but at least it's going to keep you informed. I mean, I could see holding my nose and doing that. I mean, that's what I did again with the ADN, because I needed to be informed. So they get my money every year, but I guess I don't have to like it, Randy, is the thing.
And one last thing, I like to read letters to the editor, whether they are left-wing letters, and I'm always hopefully trying to look for any right-wing letters. But I like to read left-wing letters, some real crummy, nasty ones, stupid ones, but I read them anyway just to try to understand the left-wing mindset and to think of counterpoints as I'm reading it. And I think it's just good exercise to know what the left's up to.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully read some good conservative stuff too.
I mean, like I said, I read the Alaska Current. I read the Landmine. I read the I read the Juneau Empire, and I read those things not because I necessarily agree with the bent of the reporting, but I want to understand something from all perspectives. That's an important thing. Understanding understanding other people's perspectives, or at least what they're saying to their own crowd, is important, because otherwise, you won't be able to sharpen your argument, and you won't know what the other folks are being told. I won't stay in an echo chamber. I won't read only the stories that confirm my own biases. I'll read stories that challenge, because you've got to be able to do that.
Yeah, and the most important thing is at least tune in to the Michael Duke Show. That's very important.
Well, there you
Thank
go.
you.
Well, thank you for that shameless plug, Randy. I appreciate you calling in and sharing your thoughts with us today. Thank you very much. 319-527-3864 if you want to sound off. All 4 lines are open right now. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Yeah, I mean, if you want to stay informed as to what's going on in your community, you should be plugged in to whatever you got going on. Not a bad idea for sure. We're going to continue here in just a moment. We've got more coming up. When we get back, we're going to talk a little bit about the governor's race and what's going to be happening in the legislature here in the next 30 days. The next 30 to 60 days are going to be a hot mess in the legislature. It's going to be interesting. We'll be back with more of the Michael Duke Show. Common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio.
Listened to by more staffers in Juneau than any other show, because their bosses told them to. And after what they just heard, oh man, they're going to be pissed.
You're a bad, bad man.
The Michael Duke Show.
Okay. Well, hello, my friends. Hello. There is some great stuff going on there. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I'm fixing something on my end here. 2.5, and so 1, 2.5. Okay, that's good. Yeah, it's I mean, I wish I had an answer. I wish there was more alternatives than what we have as far as the local news feed. I really do. I wish that there were more alternatives, but there's not. Some people are doing it. I mean, the Seward's Folly thing, which they're even fighting back against that. I'll see if we have enough time today to get into that story, but there are even some pushback against people like Greg Sarber over at Seward's Folly for daring to write outside of the mainstream. Yeah. But this next 60 days in the legislature is going to be oofda. And we're right at about right now 60 days from the start of the next session. That's how close we are to the start of the next session. That's where we're going. Cast iron bacon can be the answer. Just saying. Thank you for doing you and keeping folks in the know. I appreciate it, John. And you're right. Bacon is always the answer, regardless of the question, because there's just nothing that doesn't make me feel better than, bacon. That's a funny story because of the pathetic pettiness. Oh, Brian. Yeah, it is kind of pathetic, isn't it? I mean, I look at that and I go, really? I mean, that's where you guys are at? That's what you're going to spend your money on? It's kind of crazy. It's crazy. 80 texts. What? Somebody said something about getting political texts. Let me scroll back to see who it was. Was it Terry? Tawny says, I know I'm fatigued at all the political texts I received. I tried to stop option and now I'm just blocking them. I wonder if the sender understands how frustrating that is, especially for all the out-of-state races. And then David says, I'm getting 80 texts daily on national political crap. Hoofda, Mita. Holy cow. No. Not interested. Kendall said, when people are physically involved in improving their community, they tend to be better balanced. Those who only consume negative content and fight on Facebook, for example, seem to have the least balance. I wish I had an idea to get people more activated to volunteer in their community and off social media alone. Social media also seems to focus people on national problems rather than focusing on local issues they could have more control over. And that's 100%, Kendall. And that means it's working as intended in that regard. Matsu Sentinel. Is that a Matsu Sentinel? Is that a Sentinel? Oh, it's a Matsu paper. I'm going to have to add this one to my list here. I had this one. I'll add it to my news list here. Thank you for that. Terry, is that Terry? Tawny. Thank you, Tawny. Appreciate it. Yeah, I never push stop because like Fat Ray says, Tawny doesn't understand that pushing the stop button just confirms the number is working and someone is checking it. So she just made the situation worse. I just block the numbers. And I never go on. I never go on. Yep. So anyway, here we go. We're about to jump into this whole discussion on the legislature and more. The Michael Duke Show, common sense, liberty-based, free-thinking radio. Would you do me a favor? Would you like and share? Speaking of voter participation, we got almost a 50% voter turnout, 27 likes, 60 people. Let's make it more.
The Michael Duke Show. Not your daddy. Wait, sorry. Not your daddy? Ooh, not your daddy's talk radio. Whew. I was scared for a second. Thought we were going down. Here's Michael Dukes and the show.
All right. So the next 60 days, because we are officially, let me double check my math here. January. Yeah, we are, well, I think we're under 60 days. I think the first day of the legislative session, I think it's the 13th of January. If it's not the 13th, it's the 20th. But we're literally just 60 days away right now from the beginning of the next legislative session. And things are getting hot and heavy. We know that Mike Shower, he resigned his seat in the legislature to focus running full-time as a lieutenant governor candidate with Bernadette Wilson. And now on Friday, Shelley Hughes has resigned from her seat in the Senate to launch her gubernatorial campaign. As of 5 p.m. On Friday, Shelley Hughes is no longer Senator Shelley Hughes. She's now former Senator Shelley Hughes. She says she's doing it again to focus on her campaign. She says, as your governor, we'll unlock Alaska's potential, responsibility, and boldly. We will unlock Alaska's potential responsibly and boldly. We'll return Alaska lands to Alaska hands, achieve affordable energy, build the infrastructure to power our future, empower responsible development of our natural resources, elevate wildlife management, tackle head-on declining fish, unleash the wealth around us and beneath our feet, and importantly, unlock the wealth within Alaskans themselves. Wow, there was a lot of words there. Not once have I seen anything that says, and I guess maybe because it just doesn't play well to the crowd, I don't see anything that says we will tackle the fiscal plan that will bring Alaska back on track. I don't see anything about the coming crisis. And maybe it's just because that stuff doesn't sell. The fact that, that stuff, talking about things like, a fiscal crisis, the deficit, the lack of a long-term plan, the irresponsible and reckless spending, all of those things. Maybe that just doesn't sell, but she's not talking about any of that. She's talking about returning Alaska lands to Alaska hands, building the infrastructure to power our future. How do we pay for it? Empower responsible development of our natural resources. That's a great thing, but what's the timeline on that? Elevate wildlife management, tackle head-on our declining fish, unleash the wealth around us and beneath our feet. Still, I'm a fan of that. Great. How long does that take? Right? Till we start seeing some of that money come in. And more importantly, does the unlocking of the resources that she talks about in here, empowering responsible development, et cetera, what does that translate? If it translates to more money in the state coffers without some form of control over the spending, then all we're doing is feeding the beast. So I have a lot of questions for Shelley and company. And I sent an email to her team last week, wanting to get her back on the program, and it's crickets so far. I haven't heard anything, but I want to get her back on to talk about these things. And on her campaign website, she's got a detailed action plan promising solutions over soundbite. That's what they, unfortunately, because I was going to jump right into it. She does talk about fiscal strength. I want to give her credit on that. That's the first thing that she lays in. And she has a 4-part comprehensive long-term fiscal plan, which talks about the Sunset Commission, which is, that's a great thing. She establishes a spending cap, also a great thing. Protect the permanent fund, and then expand the tax base to increase revenue. So those are all kind of part and parcel of the fiscal policy working group plan. The Sunset Commission part wasn't part of that, but it fills a similar function into the cutting of government. I want to see, I want to see more to it. I want to see more to the fact that we're going to be faced with some serious issues. So I think she's got some of this on her website. If people want to go check it out, it's good, but I wish she'd put some of that in her opening statement. Okay. All right. Enough of my complaining about this. So what happens now? What happens now that Shelley Hughes has resigned? Well, it all starts with a window of time. That window of time initially is, I think, 14 days that the party has to submit names to the governor. I believe that has to be done within 14 days. And then the governor has to appoint somebody from those nominees by the 30-day mark. Now, with Mike Shower, there was a solicitation by the Republican Party for applicants to fill that position. Representative Kevin McCabe and Representative George Rauscher both filed for that. Ryan Sheldon also filed for that seat, along with Todd Smolden and Doug Massey and Steve Menard. So after the balloting was tallied, and in what was a closed-door meeting, but we did get the numbers, Kevin McCabe came away with 33 votes. George Rauscher came away with 33 votes. Ryan Sheldon came away with 24 votes. Todd Smolden got 21 votes. Doug Massey got 3 votes. And Steve Menard got 0 votes. So out of those top 3 of McCabe, Rauscher, and Sheldon, the governor has to appoint one of the top 3 names, and then they have to be confirmed by the Senate. Now, this is where things get sticky, because now with Shelley Hughes stepping down, and I'm kind of wondering because I'm kind of wondering anyway. Now with Shelley Hughes stepping down, there's only 4 conservatives. I know I'm using that term a little looser than normal. 4 conservatives left in the minority coalition, or the minority Republican minority, and that is Rob Myers, definitely conservative, James Kaufman, Mike Cronk, mostly conservative, and Rob Yunt, mostly, right? So those are it. Those are the 4 in the remainder of the Republican minority. Meanwhile, you've got 5 other Republicans who are in the coalition majority: Bert Stedman, Gary Stevens, Jesse Bjorkman, Kathy Giesel, Kelly Merrick. Those 5, they can drive what's going on in the majority. The question is, now that Hughes is gone, they've lost another reliable confirmation vote, right? If Shelley had still been in there, then she would have been able, then she would have been a 5th vote and they could have balanced it out. But this whole thing is going to be a mess. Now they have to vote on whether or not to approve the governor's choice. And we don't know who he's going to vote for yet. So depending on which nominee the governor picks, they could again prove the choice, reject the nominee in a secret ballot, or procedurally force the whole process to restart, prolonging the vacancy and testing the limits of the governor's appointment authority. So the governor is expected to make his appointment in just the next few days, but the Senate is not going to vote on the confirmation until the legislature gavels in the 21st. It is the 21st. So still 6 weeks. Wednesday, the 21st, is the first day of the session. But that's one of the first things they take up. So this is the cascade effect. This just happened for Mike Shower. And if Kevin McCabe or George Rauscher is the appointee, that also triggers a vacancy for their seat, which then causes another round of appointments that's going to happen, right? Because if Kevin McCabe or George Rauscher, then they move to the Senate, then you have a vacant House seat, which has to be again appointed by the governor. Same thing with Shelley Hughes. Shelley Hughes has now resigned her seat. Both Kathy Tilton and who was it? Kathy Tilton and was it Delana Johnson? Yeah, Kathy Tilton and Delana Johnson have both expressed an interest in filling that seat. Again, both in the House. So if one of them gets appointed, then their seat would be vacant, which would trigger another vacancy and another appointment in the House. I mean, can you see what's going on here? And it's it's a 60-day, every time it's a 30-day window, every time it gets triggered. Now, an interesting piece of good news is that Donna Anthony, my friend Donna Anthony, who has been on the program before, you know her. She's a shooting instructor, police officer, tribal police chief, done all kinds of things in the Matsu. She is a stalwart Second Amendment supporter and just an all-around good gal. Donna Anthony has filed for Kathy Tilton's House seat, I think in anticipation of Kathy potentially moving over to the Senate. And I think that's a fantastic move. Donna she's good people. She's common sense. She's got a lot of street smart. She knows what's going on. And she's kind of a no hold bards, no BS kind of person. And I dig her. And I think she would make a great representative for that area. But I mean, again, and I can't remember if they are appointed. No, they still remain. So I was just thinking, so for example, if McCabe or Rauscher gets appointed to Mike Shower's seat, they still remain members of the House until that appointment is confirmed. Because remember when Laddie Shaw was appointed to the Senate and then he got submarined by Kathy Giesel and company, he still remained in the House. So I mean, you see what I'm talking about though? It's like a game of, it's a 3-card, it's like a shell game, 3-card monte. You go here, you go here, you go here, you go here. And we're not going to know until the 21st of January what's up with any of these seats. We won't know what the true outcome is, which will be interesting. Now, as far as the confirmation in the Senate for Shower and Hughes' seat, I mean, I don't know how strident they'll be on this, unless somebody, again, like a Kathy Giesel, gets a wild hair and decides just to do it out of spite. Nothing really changes, right? I mean, Mike Shower and Shelley were both in the minority, and it doesn't really matter who you put in there. They're still minority members. So I think unless there's some kind of fifth dimensional chess thing that I'm missing here, I can't really see the downside, other than they may be able to convince somebody like Rauscher to join the majority. They may want to, if McCabe gets appointed, McCabe is conservative enough that he's not going to join with the majority coalition. Rauscher may. I don't really know anything about Ryan Sheldon. Maybe he would as well. I don't know. But Kathy Tilton or Delana Johnson has been part of coalitions in the past. Maybe she, so I don't know. But the next 60 days, man, the next 60 days is going to be interesting to the extreme. We'll see where it goes. The domino theory. That's a great phrase there. Thank you, David. It's called the domino theory. Tip one over, knocks the next one, knocks the next one. Next thing you know, a whole reshuffle is in order. All right. We'll see where this goes. But where do you who do you want to see in those positions? Tell me, who would you support? Would you support Rauscher or McCabe or Sheldon? Or in the case of Shelley Hughes, would you support Kathy Tilton or Delana Johnson for those seats? Who would you support? 319-527-3864, The Michael Duke Show. Common Sense Radio.
Listened to by more staffers in Juneau than any other show, because their bosses told them to. And after what they just heard, oh man, they're going to be pissed.
You're a bad, bad man.
The Michael Duke Show.
Okay, we're in the break right now. I just saw somebody said, Kathy McCollum said, Delana Johnson said she's not putting her name in the seat for Senate, is what Kathy said. Okay, Kathy, I thank you for the heads up, because I was just told where I have so many windows open this morning. Where is it? Juneau, who are they? I can't remember who was reporting on it this morning. Delana, somebody was reporting that Delana Johnson was interested in the seat, and now I can't find the link or which story it was. Like I said, I got a bazillion stories up here, and I don't see it. But somebody was reporting that it was Kathy Tilton and Delana Johnson. I'm sure it's in these two here. Kathy. Here we go. Both Hughes and Shower. Under state law, 30 days. Here we go. Two from the ADN. Okay. All right. And I apologize. Thank you, Kathy, for straightening me out. I misread what was said. The two House members who overlap with Hughes' Senate districts are Kathy Tilton and Delana Johnson. Tilton said Thursday she's definitely interested in Hughes seats. Johnson did not immediately respond to calls from the Daily News. So, or Rauscher, which good luck getting George Rauscher to respond to anything. I've spoken to George Rauscher exactly one time, and that's when he declined to ever appear on the program. It's just not my thing. It's just not my thing. I mean, no, it's just not my thing. Okay. I mean, you're an elected official and it's just not my thing. Okay. All right. Good luck. So anyway, I mean, it's crazy. But I mean, I think again, McCabe definitely not going to, would not join the R's, but I think David agrees with me. He said, on the other hand, Rauscher is not so certain. McCabe would not join the coalition, so the Rhino R's may not choose him. On the other hand, Rauscher is not so certain. I kind of agree with that. Maybe they'd rather have Rauscher in there because they might be able to cajole him into doing it. Yeah. And some of those names are going to come back anyway. They're only going to fill the seat for this session, for this half of the session, essentially. Because you have to re-vote for them at the next election. So it's good. McCabe for Shower's seat, says Melody, and Kathy Tilton for Shelley's seat. Melody, you were on the hold there. I was going to talk to you here in just a second. Where are you? You were calling in. I was waiting on your call. I was going to go to you. Call back. Tell me what your thoughts are. You're in that town. Tell me what you think. And Kathy McCullum, if you want to call and explain to me your thoughts too, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on this. Don't just listen to me blathering. You tell me, I guess if you live in Homer, you can afford to have many windows open. Ha 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 ha. It's 35 degrees here, man. It's not like it's subtropical. Call dropped. Well, call again, Melody. You can call again. You're allowed. It's all good. Love to hear what you have to say. There she is. She just popped back up in the room. All right, we'll get there. David said, I support Kathy Tilton to replace Shelley. I'm in District 26. We vote on November 23rd for the 3 names to send in. But the bigger question is, what will the governor do and how the Rhino R's in the Senate vote? It's a great question. I mean, that is the $1 million question at this point. Let's check Melody's audio there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. I'm going to put you back on hold. Don't go anywhere. Don't hang up. Don't. And if it drops you, just call back. We'll get you on. I'd love to hear from you. All right. And I think we're going to have Kevin on. McCabe, I think, is going to be on Wednesday. That should be an interesting conversation. We'll see what he has to say. He's traveling, but we're going to try and work through getting him in on Wednesday, so we can talk with him about that. I don't even think I'm going to bother to call George Rauscher. I'll be honest with you. I mean, it was like pulling teeth to get him to call me back the first time, the one time. So I don't even think I don't think I'll bother with that, but we'll see. Okay. I guess that's it. I guess we're all up against the break here. Barbara says, I would be shocked if Kathy was not confirmed by the Senate. Yeah. I mean, she's pretty well liked all the way around. I would probably agree with that, but we'll see where we go from there. All right. We got to get to it. Here we go. Common sense, liberty-based, free thinking radio. Let's do it.
The Michael Duke Show. Not your daddy. Wait, sorry. Not your daddy? Ooh, not your daddy's talk radio. Whew. I was scared for a second. Thought we were going down. Here's Michael Dukes and the show.
All right, one final segment for this beautiful Monday morning. I hope you're staying warm wherever you are. I hope you're getting that holiday spirit. Man, Thanksgiving. 10 days away, man. 10 days away from I can already taste the turkey. It's going to be delicious. Let's go over to the phones. Melody is up in the Matsu Valley. Let's see what Melody has to say this morning. Good morning, my dear. What's on your mind?
Good morning. Okay, so here's the way I'm looking at it. Of course, it's going to be Bernadette and Shower, the power couple for me for governor.
Okay.
But with Shower's position, Rauscher, no. And the reason why I say that is because ever since I heard you say he doesn't want to talk to his constituents, I have been calling him almost on a daily basis, trying to get a hold of him. I've been sending him messages, and he has no voicemail on his cell phone, and he doesn't respond to your messages. He is untouchable. I don't like that.
Yeah.
He only shows his face when he's there for the votes, and then shuts it down and doesn't talk to his constituents.
Yeah.
No, we need somebody akin to Senator Shower to replace Senator Shower's spot in the state Senate seat. And I think Kevin McCabe would be a perfect fit for that because I know him more or less personally. I worked with him, pretty much ever since he's been elected. I know Lynn pretty well. I just saw them all at the Veterans Ceremony last week. Kathy Tilton. Delana, no. Because when we had the special Senate in Wasilla, she was one of the turncoats. She was there for a day, maybe two, and then booked it back to Juneau.
Right.
So that's why I know with her.
And clearly, just to clarify, I misread it. Delana Johnson was in the district, but she's not throwing her hat in the ring. She's not interested in it. So that's the thing.
Kathy Tilton is best, in my opinion. I would love to see Kathy Tilton in there. She does a lot for her communities and here in the Valley as well. It's not like she doesn't do anything for us here in the Valley, even though she's Eagle River, correct?
Kathy's in the Valley.
Oh, is she?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
My mistake. But I've gotten to know these people on a little more personal basis by interacting with them at events that have to do with the veterans, which is all the politicians usually show up for that. So I like their stance. I like the fact they're conservative. You're not riding the bus today. Hold on. And that's who I would love to see. But Rauscher has really angered me, really angered me, because who only puts his name on the ballot and then nothing.
Right.
We get nothing from him.
Well,
I don't even think he opens his mouth in Juneau, does he?
I mean, he spoke a few times. He's done some things. He's voted, but again, to me, if you are representing people, but you're not responsive to the people, you're not willing to come on and talk to them on the show or any show, or you're not willing to respond to them individually, that's a problem.
What am I wasting my vote on then? Why am I voting for you if you're not going to want to talk to me? I need to have access to my representatives and my state senators. You know, Senator and Shower and I, this is how we built our relationship with, by listening to him on your show and then reaching out to him personally, you know, and taking time with him to talk about the things that I'm strong in or that I would like to see happen.
Right.
And he's a definite listening ear. So maybe I'm spoiled because Senator Shower's been my representative for a long time.
Yeah.
And Rauscher is just like a huge no. And yes, I live in his district. And yes, I've tried to contact him. I just went through this on a debate on Facebook yesterday. Someone kept calling me out. Well, have you tried to reach him? Yeah, consistently. Well, where did you hear he wouldn't speak to his constituents? I said he denied to go on a public forum radio show. He told him no, he doesn't want to talk to his constituents. So valid. I'm not speaking from my armpit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I mean, I would love if he wants to call me and reach out to me and come on the program, more than willing to. But after trying to reach him for so long and then to be told, no, I don't want to. I mean, you know, why? it's frustrating, and I don't think it's good for his constituents. But we'll see.
No, it's not.
Yeah, we'll see we'll see which one the governor decides, and we'll see where we go from there. Any final thoughts here, Melody, before I let you go?
Yeah, I just hope things fit into place. Rauscher is unreachable, and I cannot have somebody representing me that I cannot contact.
Yeah, no, I think that's important. I think contact with your constituency is an important thing, and people should be they should be engaged with their constituency, especially if you're trying to get a hold of him, repeatedly. I think he should at least reach out to you to find out what's going on. Melody, thank you for your call. I appreciate you being part of it today. So again, folks, the next 60 days, interesting times. May we live in interesting times. That's where we're at right now, for sure. And yeah, Bill put a comment in. He said, "Can we just drop the politics and do good news and holiday stuff till the end of the year?" Man, Bill, I'm with you. I'm with you. Maybe next week we'll kind of lighten it up. Well, we got Tuesday, but maybe on Monday and Wednesday of next week we'll try and lighten it up a little bit. And we will maybe we'll do some fun stuff or something a little different, because by golly, I'm with you. I'm reaching that end of the year threshold where it's just up to here, right? I've just about had enough with all the politics for the year, and we need to do it. And of course, a reminder for folks out there that the show will be on hiatus, my normal holiday hiatus. The show will be on hiatus from December the 22nd, which is the Monday before Christmas. It'll be off the air that whole week, and we will be returning onto the air. What is that? The following Wednesday, the 2nd. Is that right? I need a different calendar, don't I, to look at that? Let me pull the proper calendar here so that I could tell you what my dates are, so that you guys aren't confused as to what's going on. But we will be from the 22nd. There we go. 3-year calendar. From the 22nd on, we'll bring to December. So, or 2nd of January, rather, which would be Friday the 2nd. So I got a 1-day week there. It's Firearms Friday, first of the year. All right, my friends, that does it for us today. The Michael Duke Show continues tomorrow. We will see you then. Have a great day. Okay, my friends. Yeah, I was trying to get my calendar up there, and it was not liking me. And I will be off the air Thursday and Friday, Thanksgiving, and the day after. Thursday, Thanksgiving and Black Friday, I will be off the air for a 4-day weekend. I got lots of Christmas decorating to do. It's going to be fun. All right, my friends. Well, politics is our candy canes. This is fun, says Miguel. And politics is our candy cane. It is like, you know what, Randy, you're right. Politics is like our candy canes. It's sweet, non-filling, non-nutritious, and it rots our teeth. 100%. Am I playing Santa this year? Apparently, somebody has asked me to play Santa for the community here, and I'll probably be doing that as well. All right. So, I got some holiday shows to build. We're going to have some fun next week. Let's get back to it. That's coming up next week. But tomorrow, Chris Story, Brad Keithley. Wednesday, hopefully, fingers crossed, Kevin McCabe. The Michael Duke Show. Common Sense, Liberty-Based, Free Thinking Radio. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
We've shed our terrestrial radio skin, and now we are slimy lizard internet people. It's the Michael Duke Show.